I recognize the gentleman from South Dakota, Mr. Johnson, for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Mr. Secretary, for being here. You and I have had productive conversations in the past about the fact that managed forests are healthy forests and unmanaged forests are tinderboxes. You know, unfortunately, I think for a lot of different reasons, we've seen the volume of timber sales decrease. The last information I saw was that 80 different units had failed to meet their harvest targets in the last 5 years. And, you know, in the Black Hills National Forest, this is important to us. We were proud to host the first federal timber sale in 1899. We've been dealing with these issues for a long time. What can we do together to better provide these forests the treatment that they need?
Well, I think there are two issues here. One is the forest itself, and I think our wildfire crisis strategy is directly designed to increase activity where it needs to be increased in order to reduce the risk of catastrophic fire. And so continuing to invest in that system is important. You provided a down payment with your bipartisan infrastructure law. That's going to take us through a couple of years, but as you know, this is going to take a decade or more of commitment. So that's number one. Number two is making sure that we also have activities for our mills. I know that that's been an issue, particularly in the Black Forest area, which is why we are literally transporting wood from the western states to that mill in South Dakota so that it maintains viability. We're continuing to do that.
And I do want to give you kudos for that, Mr. Secretary. When I'd first heard the concept, the idea that there would be timber from elsewhere brought in, I thought there's no way the bureaucracy is going to make that happen. And the fact that it has happened, I think, is a testament to you and your team. I think Chris French and others have done a good job of telling me that y'all want to get these things done. These things meaning more timber sales, more treatment so we can have healthier forests. I think there's still, it seems like there are a lot of holdups. I think it feels like there's some bureaucracy maybe further down the food chain. And so I'm going to continue to look forward to working with you and your team to do what we can to maybe hit more of the center of the target. I also want to talk a little bit about high path. I mean, obviously, this country's got a lot of great poultry producers. And in South Dakota, we got a lot of turkeys, we got a lot of pheasants. We've seen, as a country, 81 million dead birds as a result of high path. I mean, I think it is a terrible situation, just devastating the industry and devastating to these growers that have to, as of right now, are the only real solution when we have an outbreak is a total depop. Talk to us a little bit, Mr. Secretary, about are we getting closer to developing a vaccine solution that would not unduly harm trade so that we can have some alternative to total depop?
Representative, you've asked a pretty tricky question there by adding that trade piece, because there's clearly a distinction between if you're a broiler and the broiler industry, that's a concern. If you're in the turkey industry or the egg-laying industry, you're in a different place. Here's where we are with vaccines. I'd say we were probably 18 months or so away from being able to identify a vaccine that would be effective for this particular HPAI that we're dealing with now. The problem, of course, is it mutates. And so you have to basically create ultimately a vaccine that is available for all strains, right? So there's that issue. The second issue is how do you deliver the vaccine? Do you deliver it in a way that is efficient and effective and less expensive, or is an injection required? Well, when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of birds, that's difficult. So we're trying to develop that process for distributing the vaccine. Then the other issue is whether or not you can get to a point where by vaccinating you can distinguish between a bird that's been vaccinated versus a bird that's actually sick. And we're working on that. So we've got work to do. There is a commitment to get it done. There's a commitment to begin the conversation on the trade side, to begin asking our trading partners, how do you feel about this? What are your concerns about it? So that we eventually, sometime down the road, get to a point where I think you want us to be. But it's going to take, it's very complex, and it's going to take some time.
So you're talking 12 to 18 months?
12 to 18 months just to get the vaccine for this particular type. Not that it's true for every type. We still have work to be done on how to actually administer it And we are nowhere near being able to do it from a standpoint of the impact of trade. We would have a circumstance where if we vaccinated today, I think we would have a number of our trading partners saying, we're not interested in your chickens.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.